I ain't tryna bring you down, but for real, you might as well give up now. Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. My life been good and bad and all around. The more things I lost, the more I found. One thing I taught myself to do, no matter the problem, refuse to lose. So, how you want it, man? You can choose. If you can't take the heat, don't light the fuse. See, I walk in slow and ignite the room. Like fire, everything I touch, I consume. I'm getting up while y'all just snooze. While you make breakfast, man, I'm on the move. I'm the first one in and the last one out. Whoever owns the place gotta drag me out. In me I trust, yeah, I smell like success, this Elon Musk, huh? Everybody wanna be like us, we don't stop, cause the top just ain't enough, huh? I ain't never gay, no, I ain't scared, man, you know black men don't blush, huh? Came here ready to fight on this night, you better just run for your life. Won't you come and see what it's like, living by the rules that you write. You ain't know those lavish delights, now you ain't no back in sight. All the little lies you recite, just makes all the savage unite. Usually I'm very polite, but I'ma get savage tonight. Even when a dog being nice, every single dog gonna bite. You might think I'm wrong, but I'm right. Just let it get a strong appetite. I'ma let it breathe just a little, give it to you strong, heavy metal. I don't make a sound when I strike. You better just run for your life. Run for your life.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the WardRadio live stream. I am your host, Carden Ellis, and today I am joined in the studio by me, myself, and I. Ladies and gentlemen, Carden Ellis is flying solo today, but I'm excited to be here with you guys. We're going to hang out. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to catch up on all kinds of cool, fun stuff and some news. And, are you guys seeing what I'm seeing here? Let me know in the chat really fast if you can. Let me know in the chat really fast if you guys see this kind of weird little interference. Screen tearing. Hold on. Let me see. Let's see if there's any question whether what we're doing is actually live or not. There's your answer right there. But now we're back. All right. Excellent. Man, that was kind of crazy. That was totally kind of crazy. So anyway, welcome. Glad you could join us. Glad you guys are here. We're excited to hang out with you. Anyway, this has been a big week. If you guys can, we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today. It's just me. So hopefully we're actually going to finish on time because I cannot veer verbose with just myself. Well, actually I can, but we're not going to put it to the test, and it's a lot harder. So anyway, make sure you guys please like this stream as you guys are coming in. And as always, if you guys have any kind of questions, if you guys have any opinions or so on and so forth, if you could just send them in a super chat, as long as it's germane to the conversation, we're going to do our best to comment, to opine, to interject, so on and so forth. So please make sure you like the stream and share it with your friends if you want them to hang out with us too, because hey, the more the merrier, right? So anyway, without any further ado, we're just actually just going to jump right in and start talking about some fun stuff while we're waiting for everybody to come in the chat. And remember, you're liking the stream as you guys come into the chat. So in the first 5 or 10 minutes here, we're just going to be catching up on some really, really fun house cleaning. First and foremost, we're happy to see that the WardRadio news blog is actually doing really, really well. Got all kinds of cool stories going on there. And if you guys can sign up for the newsletter, you'll notice that it is on the front page of WardRadio. If you just click on home and go to the very, very first page all the way at the bottom, see where it says sign up for our newsletter. Yeah, make sure that you guys sign up for our newsletter, or that you contribute to the show via PayPal or Venmo if possible. And also, we like to give a big shout out here, okay, to apparently we skipped a mod like four live streams ago. One of the moderators of Discord, if you guys haven't had a chance yet to hang out in our Discord, the Discord is run wholly by volunteer moderators. It's a very fun place where like-minded individuals can come together and can express all kinds of opinions. There is no unanimity of thought there. It's a very diverse and fun forum. You have to be well-behaved. You have to be cool, you know. But you can hang out and you can talk shop, whether it's a prayer circle or whether it's reactions to episodes. There's a Relief Society room. There's an Elders Quorum. There's a foyer. There's really, honestly, a crowd for anybody and everybody. Now, sometimes we do get haters, as we're going to see later in the show. It's very common that the ex-Mormon, anti-Mormons try and infiltrate the Discord in order to just find something that's not there, frankly. Or to post spam. They always think they're super original by posting PORN links, which that's kind of funny the first time. But anyway, there's a lot of guys that take care of all of that. And Blood Track is one of them. Here's him here's him with a picture receiving his widow's mite from a while ago. So I don't know what that flag is behind him. That's kind of interesting. I've never seen that version before. Is it some kind of like cryptocurrency? I'm not sure. Is that cryptocurrency? E-money or something like that? I don't know. But anyway, thank you very much, Blood Track, for being one of the moderators on the show. Also, one of the reasons why Discord is so fun, okay, is because of, frankly, the artwork. There's an entire section of artwork done by fans of the show. And obviously, well, not obviously, but this seems to be AI generated. And there's a whole entire section for AI art. When people say funny stuff on the show, oftentimes people will make AI art of that funny phrase or that funny happening or the meme. And these ones, Ed Thomas uploaded that he got from the AI section of the Discord, and they were too funny. I could not skip sharing them. Anyway, I assume that's me. I'd like to think my hairline's a little bit better than that, but hey, this is artificial intelligence, right? Then I like that one. I'd like to think I had those sick Moroni armbands. I don't know if they said try and make them look like Captain Moroni's or like Centurions, and those brass buttons are really too close to the nipples for me to feel comfortable. But the picture all in all is actually pretty dang cool. And it's not just me. Check it out. We got Kwaku. I don't know, is he like is that like an Egyptian kind of like almost like Pharaoh neck piece with like the solid Nephi armbands? I don't know, but he's shredded. And this is a little bit closer to real life. That's a scowl. But they were spot on with his stash. This one, it's weird when you see him now without a stash. It kind of makes you wonder. That's kind of like babyface Kwaku from back in the days, like back during This Is the Show, back during, the Kwaku channel, back during Stone 16. But now we almost don't even recognize him unless he has the mustache. So anyway, thank you very much to all of the moderators and everybody that is been helping us out on the Discord. Going to give a shout out to a couple of the members of the channel here. One of them says, "Take off the hat and compare hairlines." Okay, I mean, all right. We'll give a look-see. Did AI do me dirty? A little bit dirty. I'd like to think a little bit dirty, but It's all right. I'm humble enough, man. I'm humble enough. They made Kwaku look shredded. But, I'll take it. I'll take it. So anyway, whoever made this AI art, please comment in the chat. And I would love to give you a shout out because that was just plain old some really, really, really funny stuff. So anyway, as I said before, guys, as you're coming into the chat, please make sure you like the stream. And also, if you join, we're going to give you a shout out and welcome you to the WardRadio Wigwam. And if you don't mind, please share this with your friends. Celestial Comrade says, AI did you very dirty, Carding. You know what? I agree with you, Celestial Comrades. Thank you very much for recognizing that. And some other members say, what a cutie. Thank you. I'm flattered. So anyway, you guys are awesome. Now we're just going to jump right into some of the main topics of conversation this week. One of the main topics of conversation has been the fact that looks like Alyssa Grenfell made a hit piece in conjunction with New York Post. Actually, I don't know. We can't really say in conjunction. That's probably not fair. Who knows how much cooperation was between the two. New York Post definitely picked up some video content of hers and ran with it and made a big fat old hit piece that basically insinuated that Mormons are inbred, have a official policy of codified inbreeding, and that's why they, quote, all look alike and have Mormon face. So just as a good rule of thumb, anti-Mormons, I want us all to be able to get along, current members of the church, post members of the church. I want an amicable and good society. A good starting point for that might be just having the self-awareness to think if you wouldn't say something about Jews or Muslims, if you don't feel comfortable saying, oh, all of the Jays look the same, because they're inbred. I don't know if you'd say that. I don't know if you'd say that. And, but you said it. So I know sometimes there's blind spots and we're a little bit spoiled in our wealth here in North America, especially with our very wholesome upbringings in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And there's something about this new brand of wokeism that gets you really, really salty. But I don't think it's a function of losing brain cells. A lot of members of the church try and make it out to be something like, oh, that's what the stupid antis do. But they're not stupid. They're prideful and they're cruel. I mean, the words of Taylor Swift, it's just a code for cruel in the name of being honest, right? By the way, Swifties out there, tell me how I botched that song lyric. I think it's cruel in the name of being honest. Oh, shoot. I can't remember the adverb or the adjective in front of cruel that was, or the verb in front of cruel that was used in the song. But anyway, that's really unfortunately become a modus operandi. We're going to dive right into this. We're going to dive right into this article in the New York Post, as seen on the WardRadio news blog. First off, we're going to go over all three articles that are associated with it. The first one, if you want to follow along, please check us out at wardradio.com/news. And here's the article right here by Luke Hansen, posted last night. So, do Mormons look alike? And if so, why? The New York Post published an article on April 15th titled, I'm an ex-Mormon. Here's why members of my former church look alike, to help answer these questions. So anyway, we're actually going to go to this original article, which cites the original video. And so here's Alyssa saying that members of the church all look alike. It's kind of brutal. So here, let's see if we can press play. Oh, no. We're not going to give somebody else a booze commercial on this one. But in a recent minute-long video, Grenfell noticed on social media that many were curious why members of the Mormon church tend to have a physical resemblance. In other words, why certain people look Mormon. Well, I'm actually going to pull up the original video here in the Discord, and we can just analyze it, see what see what she says and why all of us supposedly look the same and have Mormon face. So here's the video. It's titled...
Have you ever wondered why certain people look Mormon?
It's titled Mormon Face is a Real Thing. #LDS.
Have you ever wondered why certain people look Mormon? I see this all over social media where certain content creators get tons of comments saying you look very Mormon. Mormons really only marry other Mormons. You can't marry in a Mormon temple unless it's two Mormons getting married. This, in large part, has made it so that the gene pool is actually very small, and especially in a place like Utah, where Mormons fled and went to Utah to be able to practice polygamy in peace. Those Mormons were only making babies with other Mormons for a very long time, and the only opportunity to make the gene pool a little larger is to convert people. I think another reason for this is not just the way Mormons look, but it's also the Mormon vibe, which is often super hyper friendly, almost too friendly. Mormons are taught to proselytize and share their religion. I think that Mormon culture is very copycat. Mormons believe that there is something called the straight and narrow path, which gives you a very strict outline for how you're supposed to live your life. And while that might not have anything to do with a Stanley Cup, it does create the sense that there is one right way to do things.
Okay, whoa! Whoa! So much to respond to here. Did you hear that? Or is your hearing gone somewhere because you're inbred? Danny Gray says, don't be fooled, you silly Mormons. If you state long and hard enough, card definitely looks like, quote, Quaco. I think you mean if you stare long and hard enough. And Dorston Graves now says, inbreeding really sounds to me like a smear tactic used by those who can't compete with the healthy, beautiful lives following the gospel things does. Now, I got to tell you, I think a lot of what you guys say is right. Now, we're going to go through this bit by bit, okay? And we're just going to analyze each claim and respond. So here's Alyssa Grimfeld. Alyssa, geez, I keep botching that.
Have you ever wondered why certain people look Mormon?
No, I haven't. In fact, I know why. Generally living, if you're active enough in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which has a very... not wildly strict, but a pretty obvious and plain and precious and simple code of ethics that includes an ethics of health. Generally, we avoid smoking, we avoid alcohol, we even do our best to avoid most teas and coffees, although some of us fall short of that. But by and large, you're not going to catch an active member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, doing some of the things that decrease longevity the most, which are drinking and smoking. So just by avoiding those two basic things, you generally will have a healthier lifestyle. And science shows that the healthier you live your life, just as Plato says, you are what you do every day. Therefore, success is a habit, not a destination, okay? If you're doing these things every day, it shouldn't surprise you that, well, healthy people look what? More attractive. Science has shown that certain types of estrogen markers and testosterone markers and strength markers in both men and women result in more attractive appearances. So I don't find it wildly unscientific to say that generally healthier people look better. It's pretty wild. But no, because anti-Mormons, something happens when you go woke where literally everything has to be twisted. You have to find a way to make sure that it's some kind of hateful thing. We continue.
I see this all over social media where certain content creators get tons of comments saying you look very Mormon. Mormons really only marry other Mormons. You can't.
Okay. That's not true either. Really. It's not. I think this girl's Utah, because don't forget, in the first 30 rules of anti-Mormons, they're always trying to conflate Utah scandals into doctrinal church scandals. And the truth is, Utah is a predominantly Mormon state. You can have people from 5 counties away that meet people from 6 counties away at some dance somewhere. And chances are they're both probably descendants and or current active members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Why? Because Utah had almost nobody there until the biggest major city, Salt Lake City, was founded by Brigham Young, and he started bringing cartfuls of folks there until what's the population of Utah now? Like 3 or 4 million? Okay, so a natural consequence of the settlement of the West is that a lot of the people are going to be Well, descendants of the settlers. And in Utah, those settlers were members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, aka Mormons. Well, guess what they were in Massachusetts? Protestants? Does it surprise you when you do your genealogy and you make it back to the 16th century in Massachusetts that you bump into a lot of Protestants? Oh, by the way, guys, San Diego, you know what? There's a lot of Mexicans in San Diego, because San Diego used to be part of Mexico before not the Americas, but before the American Army came in and reorganized a few boundaries. So there's actually entire swaths. There's millions of Mexicans in the southwestern United States that were always here, and the border crossed them instead of them crossing the border. And are you gonna say that they're all inbred? Because in some of these neighborhoods and suburbs and communities, there's a lot of people that share a common background. What do you do when you go to Chinatown, Koreatown, Little Armenia? Oh wait, these places don't exist in Utah. So you get these Utahns who are, I don't know, angry at their dad, angry at their, mom that wouldn't let them do dance in high school or whatever. And they try and conflate church-wide inbreeding with Utah suburbanism. And there is no codified, doctrinal, or otherwise official policy of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to only marry Mormons. That's absolute hogwash and garbage. I have 3 immediate family members that married outside of the covenant. Now they're happily married. Many of those people actually, in fact, the vast majority, end up converting to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, because you can't date somebody who's an active member of a faith that has a beautiful family that loves them and not see how the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and how the gospel ends up being a huge part of the cohesion of their social fabric and not be emotionally and spiritually attracted to that. Okay? But this idea that it's some kind of official codified thing, no, that's garbage. Now, have we quoted scripture saying, oh yeah, don't marry out of the covenant as a general recommendation for familial longevity? Well, yeah, sure, because all the stats show that when people share a common background, common interest, and or a common faith, that their marriages last longer. So if Utahns are marrying Utahns, are probably dating other more active members or inactive members. And if members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are spending a lot of time going to youth dances and young single adult firesides and dances and being fully active members of their faith as well, they're probably going to meet other boys and girls of their similar background, and they're going to get along. And when people get along for extended periods of time and they feel comfortable with each other, guess what happens? They usually get married. Now, do we have a bishop breathing down our neck, threatening to take away our temple recommend if we do otherwise? No. I have plenty of aunts and uncles that married non-members of the church, and they prayerfully considered it, and personal revelation told them this is the right person. Some of them got baptized, some of them didn't. But this is just a lie. And maybe she's referencing a Utah cultural thing. But to say that that's the church, what are the anti-Mormons always like, trying to make something out to be a logical fallacy, a straw man, even though they don't even know the real definition of the word. Let's keep going.
Can't marry in a Mormon temple unless it's 2 Mormons getting married.
Okay, that's false too. You can't get married in a Mormon temple unless you both have temple recommends. Okay, and the Mormon temple is not the same as the Mormon church. You notice she's being very pixie choosy with her words here. Okay, you can get married in the Mormon church any day of the week with somebody with whom you want to be legally and lawfully wed. That can happen tomorrow, and I could do it. Now, the temple is actually technically not a marriage. It's a sealing ceremony, which is performed. In some states, they give you a marriage license simultaneously with the sealing. But this is actually an abuse of the doctrine of eternal families that Alyssa, who I've looked into a little bit. Apparently she, from what I understand, she served a mission. She's been virtually a lifetime member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and she knows these things. But when you go woke and you go progmo and you go anti-mo, lying is now on the table. And this is a lie to say that you can't get married in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints unless both people are members of the church. I've been to myriad weddings where only one person was a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They got married at the chapel, and it was a fun and it was a beautiful thing. In fact, in some ways, it's actually more fun than the temple weddings, which kind of have a boring section to them that's religious. So, I'd like to say this is a semantic argument, and the statement wasn't all the way thought through. But again, we're debunking the false claim. Let's go.
This, in large part, has made it so that the gene pool is actually very small. And
Whoa! Okay. Are you going to say Indians that marry other Indians are all inbreds because of a small shared common religious background in their gene pool? I don't know. India's a pretty big continent. What isn't inbred for you? The Canary Islands? You think people don't have cars, don't have planes? Just Madagascar? Are people from Madagascar, are they inbred too? Wow, dude, the things you can say about members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are absurd.
Especially in a place like Utah, where Mormons fled and went to Utah to be able to practice polygamy in peace.
Fled to Utah to be able to practice polygamy in peace. Or maybe, gosh, I think it's rule number 16 of anti-Mormons is their claims can never withstand 30 seconds of Google searching. So here we go. Look up Mormon Extermination Order. Mormon Extermination Order. Executive Order number 44, known as the Mormon Extermination Order, was a state executive order issued by Missouri Governor Lilburn Boggs on October 27th, 1838. 1838, Mormons are literally declared, like you could kill them and it only counted as the slaughter of cattle. The theft of a horse was a bigger crime than massacring and murdering Mormons. There was a Battle of Nauvoo where the mob bought mortars and shelled innocent men, women, and children for nothing more than their religious affiliation. This isn't a bunch of people trying to escape to practice polygamy in peace. They were getting driven out for the umpteenth time at the point of a bayonet, or after having watched their friends, their mothers, their children get shot and killed. Joseph Smith lost his own children. There's not a founding father of the church that didn't lose dear friends, wives, sons, daughters. This is such a wildly cruel, pseudoscientific, pseudo-historical comment that I would say they should be ashamed, but this is just anti-Mormonism. So anyway, let's see. When did Brigham Young arrive in Salt Lake City? Because remember, they were trying to leave for the ability to practice polygamy in peace. Nope, here we are. July 24th. So that's why it's Pioneer Day. Duh. Hey, look, I got to tell you, Pioneer Day, that's a big thing in Utah. It's not even on the radar here in Southern California. So anyway, July 24th, 1847, completing a treacherous 1,000-mile exodus, an ill and exhausted Brigham Young and fellow members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints arrived in Utah's Great Salt Lake Valley in July 24th, 1847. So, less than 9 years after an extermination order, Alyssa. An extermination order. What, are you going to say that the Jews just fled Germany because they wanted to be able to light their menorahs in peace? Or maybe Kristallnacht happened. Seriously, this is ex-Mormon anti-Mormonism, guys. This is wokeism. This is the stuff you're allowed to say. And it doesn't pass 30 seconds of Google research here. Anyway, I've seen a couple of super chats come up, and as Brittany says, I'm getting passionate here. So we're going to cool our jets here for a second, and we're going to read a couple of super chats. Say, Stephen Diamond says, wow, I can't believe I look like all the people in South America. I don't know, we both had blonde hair and blue eyes. I look like it took a newspaper to find out. That's funny. Gage Schimbeck said, it's called selective breeding, just like dogs, horses, Cat's getting the cream of the crop. LOL, it's called. I select the one who is on the covenant path, and well, that is beautiful. Okay. Yeah. Are there auctions? What is this, Key and Peele? You know? Polly Nikes asks, can you confirm receiving my package? I'll have to check the studio mailbox, my man. Thank you. As long as, it's not any white powders or ticking boxes. That'd be great. Rachel Hudson says, I spent years on my journey. If it wasn't, and there's two T's there, I think that's a quick misspelling. If it wasn't for the X's and haters and all of their negative gouging, I'd still be attending mass. I feel sorry for them when I cross their commentary. Yeah, that's true. Actually, I've always had kind of not a fascination, but an interest in anti-Mormon arguments. At least I used to, because they used to be evangelical, actually. It used to be that throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s, most anti-Mormonism was interdenominational. It was overzealous and ill-informed evangelicals who were convinced that we were Satan incarnate, trying to tell us biblically, using scriptures, why we're wrong, why we're going to hell, so on and so forth. However, truth be told, there's at least some kind of rubric there. You can at least say, okay, you say God is spirit because of this verse over here, but I say, a man can talk to God face to face because of this scripture here. Oh, you say that Jesus Christ never had a body. Oh, well, here it says he does. Oh, you say that, no man can see God. Well, there's a scripture that says he does. And you could at least have some kind of baseline of, we're both Christians here. Well, they wouldn't even say that, but we both want to follow Jesus Christ's golden rule and do unto others how we would want done unto us. So, hey, can we at least treat each other amicably during this conversation and use the scriptures as our baseline here? But with this new brand of wokeism, with this new brand of progressivism, as Ibram X. Kendi said, the only way to get rid of past racism is by new racism. Therefore, you are just wholly justified in being racist against white people now. And who's the arbiter of that truth? Nobody. The social contract is, the mob is. When have reparations been done and we can stop the current racism because it will have made up for the old racism? Oh, according to whom? Nobody, except for the leaders of the progressive or the communist movement and the cultural Marxists and the socialists. And wow, that seems like an awesome way to enslave a population under a noble soundbite. So with this new brand of wokeism, you're just allowed to say whatever you want about religious folks, and heck, they deserve it. In fact, why don't we, when you espouse this doctrine, why not just bring back the Mormon extermination order? Like, really, if we're so bad that you can just say the things that the brown shirts said about the Jews during the Weimar Republic, why we are normalizing all of the precursors of genocide here, guys. And that's your team, ex-Mormon, anti-Mormons. That's your team, Progmos. And I don't mean Moprogs. I mean Progmos. So, I don't know. You might want to take a look in the mirror and do some reconsidering here. Luke Hansen says, go to the article and see the article she flashed on screen as proof that there is inbreeding. Yes, I'm going to go back to Luke Hansen's article and finish debunking this once we get just through the video response. And Quest says, Exmo discovers physiognomy and calls it inbreeding. Oh, that is hilarious, my man. So let's go back to this video here. Let her finish in her own words. We'll react to the video, then we'll react to the article, and then we'll react to the rebuttals.
Mormons were only making babies with other Mormons for a very long time. And the only opportunity to make the gene pool a little larger is to convert people.
Okay, yes, you're right. Mormons were generally only making babies with other Mormons for probably 2 generations in Utah. But these were Mormons from England dating Mormons from Scandinavia. These were the converts coming up from the south. We had African Americans next to Polynesians, next to Scandinavians, next to Latinos. For heaven's sakes, Pancho Villa was taking the discussions. Pancho Villa. So, I mean, what are you going to say? Is a Mexican dating a Swede? Not... Is that inbreeding now? You know? Is the Englishman dating the French woman? Is that inbreeding now? Is the German dating the Scottish person? That's inbreeding now? Okay, what article did she put up here? I'm looking for the picture. Genetics in Utah. Here's a picture. This was the article she put up. We're going to analyze that just a little bit later. But anyway, back to the video.
The only opportunity to make the gene pool a little larger is to convert people. I think another reason for...
Okay, the gene pool was plenty large. This is just a gross mischaracterization that is cruel hypocrisy. But let's keep going.
This is not just the way Mormons look, but it's also the Mormon vibe, which is often super hyper friendly, almost too friendly.
Okay. Almost too friendly reveals a little bit more about you than it does about us. Also, I don't know about you, but I've never been called almost too friendly. So, at face value, I don't think that holds water, but anyway.
Mormons are taught to proselytize and share their religion.
No, Mormons are not taught to proselyte and share their religion. God commands it in Scripture, and we simply read Scripture. So, tomato, I guess, but still, I take issue with the statement.
I think that Mormon culture is very copycat. Mormons believe that there is something called the straight and narrow path, which gives you a very strict outline for how you're supposed to live your life.
Okay. First off, if you're trying to say that Mormons are copycatters, and then you put up a bunch of social media pics of influencers or mommy bloggers, whoever these people were that you put on the screen, what do you call fashion? Like, seriously. Do you ever notice that you can tell what decade a picture of your parents is from by the clothing they're wearing? Because we're all copycatting each other. It's fashion. It's society. What I think is anti-Mormon rule number 18 is like, there's absolutely no understanding of natural consequences. Being a human being means you're generally going to live in a society. I'm not the only Honda shirt out there. Honda made probably 50,000 of these shirts spread out all over Southern California. The ones that don't sell will get shipped to Utah, where Alyssa lives, to get sold there. That's why whenever you, that's why you always notice your shirt on the rack that you bought last season at the Pacific Sunwear in Provo when you go to BYU the next season. Or the albums that your friends are making all of a sudden are on the racks at Hot Topic 6 months later. But I mean, literally, there's 50,000 of these shirts floating all around Southern California at Tilly's. Everybody that shops at Tilly's, are they all just copycatters? Or is that natural consequences?
And while that might not have anything to do with a Stanley Cup, it does create the sense that there is one right way to do things.
Okay. That's the only sentence she said that was true. That there's a concept of right and wrong in our faith. Mostly biblical and based off of Scripture in the Book of Mormon. We believe in the two great commandments: do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. And well, first love God. That's the number one. And then love man as thyself. And then, 10 commandments. Don't take the Lord's name in vain. Honor thy father and thy mother. No unethical killing. Basics. That basically you go to prison for if you don't follow. I mean, I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but our entire society is based off of laws. And that's why this new weird breed of progressivism is so toxic that you can actually indict somebody who's following a religious code of ethics as weird. This is why even Bill Maher nowadays is saying, what? So now shoplifting is just justice shopping? Theft is just justice shopping now? Is that how it goes? If you have no laws, if you have no order, if you have no rubric, if you have no standard, you descend into chaos. So simply saying, hey, there is a standard. No, it's a pretty loose standard, okay, and it's a pretty ill-defined standard. There's vague concepts of good and evil, and if you want to get into the details, we'll give you some more details. But by and large, we want to reward and incentivize goodness while disincentivizing badness. And we do that by establishing some rules. So for example, you guys going north, drive on the right side of the road. You guys going south, drive on the left side of the road. We're even going to paint this convenient little line in the middle for you guys so you know where to go and so you don't start crashing into each other. Are we all a bunch of religious zealots now? So anyway, apparently, the Latter-day Ladies did a response to this video. They did a debunking. And it got a couple people angry, including, unfortunately, Alyssa, the anti-Mormon herself. And I was actually on the website, and up came this comment right here. So interesting to hear your reactions to my videos. I would love it if next time you gave me the opportunity to respond in real time to your criticisms and commentary. So she's calling us out for not giving her the opportunity to respond in real time. And I got to tell you, I tried to be polite in my response, but man, if you can't see the glaring hypocrisy, she literally said, we're all inbred. By the way, my family, how far do we go back in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? My mom's a convert from Southern California. My grandpa escaped the Nazis. Sorry, I don't have some 20-generation pioneer stock behind me. Am I inbred too, Alyssa? You didn't allow me to respond in real time. You didn't allow the Latter-day Saint ladies who you were indicting as inbreds. You didn't allow them the privilege of responding in real time. Are you going to tell Megan? Are you going to tell Megan, whose heritage is African? Are you going to tell her she's inbred? Tikla, where's Tikla come from? I think she grew up in like Malaysia or Guam or some military Southeast Asian island, some military base somewhere. My wife's parents, Norwegian. Jonah's parents, Charlotte's parents, from Northern California, and her husband, Scandinavian. So far, in this entire thumbnail, we don't have people from the exact same country. Is that not a big enough gene pool to avoid the pejorative of inbred? Wow. So anyway, Alyssa comments and says, hey, next time you do this, I'd appreciate the opportunity to comment in real time. Well, fortunately for you, Alyssa, check this out. We're live streaming right now. If you want to send a super chat and you want to say where I go wrong and so on and so forth, then here's your opportunity. Also, reach out on the website. I'll fly you in. We'll give you a hotel. You can sit in that chair right there. And you can tell me how I'm inbred, or you can tell the Latter-day Ladies where they go wrong and defend your thesis, okay? But I tried to respond to her, and unfortunately, dang it, man. I got this error. And I went back and I checked, and the comment was erased. So, I don't know. Maybe the YouTube algorithm flagged it or something. But or maybe she just took it down, didn't want the smoke, didn't want the attention or whatever. But I gave the opportunity. So, Alyssa, you are invited to come in and defend your thesis that members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are inbred, and that our policy of proselyting was in order to increase our gene pool and how we all look the same. I'd be really curious what statistics you would have to back that up. Speaking of back it up, we're going to go back to the original article and analyze some of the data that she put forward. The article prominently featured quotes from a minute-long video by Alyssa Grenfell. Grenfell left the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the church, in other words, in 2017, and now runs a YouTube channel about her experiences in Mormonism. Grenfell affirmed that Mormons look alike and attributed it to the, quote, very small gene pool created because members of the church can only be married in the temple or other marriages. All right. The only opportunity to make the gene pool a little larger is to convert people, she explained. Grenfell did not cite any research to support this claim. However, she flashed a screenshot of an article titled Genetics in Utah by Learn Genetics during that section of the video. The article explains, all right, we'll continue here. The article explains How genealogical records, clean living, and high fertility in Utah help scientists research genetic diseases. No mention is made of a small gene pool brought about by marriage within the faith. There have been myriad studies performed. Most famously, one of the first scientific ones done in the 70s showed that members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints who hold temple recommends and follow the word of wisdom live generally 14% longer than their secular counterparts or their non-religious counterparts. 14% longer. That is a wildly statistically and scientifically significant statistic. So here's an article that's literally talking about how science uses members of the church in order to get better data on human health. And she's twisting it into a citation to support the accusation of inbreeding. It's just gross. I can testify myself here. I know young men in our church that they actually get paid to pee in like bottles to develop a baseline of what like healthy urine is for these different medical companies that need to know what baseline health is. And one of the few requirements is you can't drink caffeine and you can't drink alcohol. And it's so hard to find people that just simply don't drink a ton of caffeine and alcohol that there's like entire groups of young men and like young men's groups that like fundraise off of this stuff by just like peeing in bottles. You get like $8 for like every liter or something. I don't know. But I had a cousin that did it. And here we are. These exact same studies are used to say that members of the church are inbred. So just remember that. Just remember that. When these people want to tell you how science does not support belief in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, just remember that the same people who twist scientific studies lauding members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as healthy individuals, when they twist that into an evidence of inbreeding, just remember that when they try and tell you that science says there is no God. Just remember that when they try and tell you historical this, historical that about Joseph Smith, about Brigham Young, about et al. These are the same people that would chase you down when you were jogging on the beach during COVID for not wearing 3 masks and a scuba tank, and then tell you that science says they're right. By the way, and science says you need to lose your job and your grandpa needs to die alone in the hospital. Science now also says that healthy Mormons are inbred. That's science to these people. Gonna address a couple more super chats before we continue. Danny Gray says, with the golden rule in mind, I think whenever an anti-Mormon, ex-Mormon publicly and blatantly lies about our beliefs, ad hominem responses are totally warranted. Well, what's funny is generally we try and stay away from just plain old blatant ad hominem, but the truth is, let's understand what the definition is. It's not an ad hominem attack unless you cite the person in lieu of the argument. But if the person and their conflict of interest especially is the argument, then it's not ad hominem. You can go look. This is a basic Wikipedia definition, guys. And I call into question the financial incentive to lie about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as cult porn that most ex-Mormon and anti-Mormons are engaged in right now. Because I don't remember which rule it is in the top 30 rules of anti-Mormons, but they're always trying to, quote, co-opt other churches and other organizations' scandals. When the Catholic Church had its child abuse scandal, they tried to say, oh, me too, us too, yeah. Can I grift off of this misery as well? When the Scientologist Church had their scandal of kidnappings and sequestering and so on and so forth, and all those documentaries came out, they said, oh, yeah, us too, we want to show you how we're a cult too, and I want to make money off of all the clicks and the views. I mean, over 60% of John DeLynne's audience right now aren't even members of the church or ex-members of the church. They're people literally watching flabbergasted at the lies they keep repeating because they are financially incentivized to repeat those lies. They are cashed biased to misrepresent us. I mean, it's sad and it's cruel. So I wouldn't say just blatant ad hominem, Danny, is warranted, but I'd say understanding the definition of ad hominem makes it so that you can call somebody out who's cash biased to lie about you. You can call it out as what it is. And that's not ad hominem. That's calling into question a conflict of interest. Diamond Dave says, being friendly is a bad thing? ? Time to be even more of a prick then? No, that's a, I can see where you're coming from, bro. And that's the natural man inside. We want to light these people up. But we got to take a deep breath, attack the argument, the cash bias of the person, okay, or the conflict of interest of the person, and then offer ourselves to be open to conversation and correction and good faith actors in the war of ideas. So with that said, Alyssa, reach out on the website. We will gladly invite you to come on this show. You can talk with the Latter-day Ladies. If you don't even want to talk to me, you can talk to Latter-day Ladies and defend your thesis about us fleeing west after the Hans Mill massacre, the Mormon War, the extermination order. You can tell us how you arrived at the conclusion that that was just to go practice polygamy in peace. But hey, doubt you'll take us up on it. But you are invited, and I am sincere. I'll pay for your plane ticket and your hotel. Anyway, Clayton says, oh, by the way, with that said, it's going to be normal JetBlue like the rest of us in a decent hotel, okay? We're not putting you up in the Ritz-Carlton here, all right? Nobody's going to clip me. Nobody's going to clip me saying, you live up to your end of the bargain. So anyway, Clayton says, third great-grandfather is William Clayton. Am I inbred? I don't know. I'm related to Charlemagne of Europe. Am I inbred with all of the other Frenchmen out there? Closest living relative to Clara Barton, the founder of the American Red Cross. Jeez, man. Can I no longer marry a North American? Patrick T. Lowe, member for 11 months. Thank you, Patrick. Says 200K people migrated to Utah during the Mormon Trail. If there were 20 people per family, that is over 10,000 different families. Inbreeding? Nah. Yeah, it never, ever stands up to scrutiny, these claims. They never do. But they're allowed to say them because our society has grown so weak in its wealth and it so worships niceness culture that those that are willing to abuse niceness culture will actually look down upon those that defend themselves, and that needs to change. And actually, it is changing. It is changing. And these anti-Mormons are so used to just the boomer class of Mormons that don't even have a YouTube account and know that they're saying these heinous things online, or they're so detached in their wealth and their ivory towers that these people have run roughshod for the past 20 years. And the second they get a little bit of pushback, all of a sudden they just melt. So you have to stand up and to push back. Okay. Now push back ethically, push back kindly, true kindly. Kindness is not niceness. And we need to understand what these definitions are. Okay. But push back against evil, contend for the faith. You don't have to be a zealot. You just have to say, no, I'm not inbred. Sorry. That's pseudoscientific garbage and you should be ashamed of yourself. Drew says, if inbreeding causes Mormons to look alike, what causes resting Exmo anti-Mo face? Dude, I got to tell you, the optics are not good on that. Take the top 5 anti-Mormon ladies, put them up against the top 5 pro-LDS women. And I'm sorry, just the pro-LDS women, they're better looking, they're happier, they're more attractive in all physical, spiritual, metaphysical, emotional ways. You can't fight the optics. You can't fight the optics. So that's a really funny comment there, Drew. And then anyway, Diamond Dave says, I'm a single first-gen convert on both sides of my family. Awesome. If any LDS ladies want to disprove Alyssa's inbreeding comment, let's chat. Yeah, we got fresh genes here. Diamond Dave is fresh genes. If you're trying to escape the inbred cult, you need to hit up Diamond Dave. Hashtag marriage season. It's like 7 brides for 7 brothers in 2024. Oh boy. That was funny, Diamond Dave. You get credit. I hear the feminists booting up their laptops already, trying to scream him down as misogynist, but that was funny. That was just objectively funny. So, anyway, we'll keep going here. Back to the article written by Luke Hansen. The New York Post article, meaning the hit piece, citing Alyssa Grenfell, says the New York Post article offers another explanation as to why members of the church might look the same. Plastic surgery. Oh. God bless plastic surgery and how it's helped some people. What are braces, by the way? Cosmetic surgery? Cosmetic alteration? I mean, you're literally strapping metal onto the teeth embedded in your skull until they slowly move over years. So they look more what? Functional? No, aesthetically pleasing. So if we want to start talking cosmetic surgery, remember, we're talking about braces here too, guys. Now, granted, actually, semantically, that wouldn't necessarily count as surgery, but alteration most definitely. And I would say in some ways more painful than some of these surgeries, man. Anybody that had braces as a kid, man, that was oof. Especially the old kind. Those were brutal. Especially if you played soccer and sports. Anyway, the Post referenced a 2017 research snapshot that cited high numbers of plastic surgeons and spending on cosmetics like hair coloring per capita relative to the rest of the nation. Oh, so there's a bunch of hair schools in Utah where young women go to get their cosmetology licenses and they change a lot of people's hair. So tisk. You guys are out there getting quintuple Ds. As further evidence, the Post claimed the Latter-day Saints church website even offers beauty tutorials. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. The women of General Conference wouldn't look trapped in the 80s or in the early 2000s in Hillary Clinton pantsuits every conference if the church was offering beauty tutorials, okay? There's no requirement of being a woman in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that you have to go through some kind of beauty tutorial. All right? I'm not saying these people are ugly, but come on. I mean, some of these pantsuits and pearls, do you really think that, like, you know, a fashion designer forced those upon these ladies? No, come on. Do you think half of those oversized suits Motab wears? Like, they were wearing double-breasted suits 5 years after double-breasted suits were no longer de la mode. Okay? And was that because all the fashion designers forced it upon them? Because we offer classes and they chose willingly? That's foolish. As further evidence, the Post claimed the Latter-day Saint Church website even offers beauty tutorials. The article links to a fictional story from the September 2001 New Era magazine titled Beauty Tips. The fictional story is about a young woman who believes she will not get to the celestial kingdom because she's not beautiful enough to get married. Oh, that's so sad. It's like Mahana. Who was the 10-cow wife? I forgot that old church video from the 70s. Anyway, the young woman learns that there is more to beauty than good looks. Oh, so a heartwarming chicken soup for the soul story about understanding both inner and outer beauty all of a sudden counts as a beauty tutorial sanctioned by the church. Not just sanctioned, but necessary. The story does not contain beauty tutorials, writes Luke Hansen. The church does not have an official teaching on plastic surgery. However, Elder Jeffrey Hall, under the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, did say, in too many cases, too much is being done to the human body to meet a fictional, to say nothing of superficial, standard that is more than social insanity. It is spiritually destructive. And if adults are preoccupied with appearance, tucking and nipping and implementing and remodeling everything that can be remodeled, those pressures and anxieties will certainly seep through to the children. Yes. There's so many people that take cosmetic surgery way too far. It's one thing to think, okay, I'm going to get some braces because I've got a crooked smile. And it's another thing to think that your smile is so imperfect that you have to do it over and over and over again, or that you refuse to smile, or you're going to go back and get them again. It's one thing to get, breast augmentation. I know women that have had noses they felt uncomfortable with, and they were good candidates for rhinoplasty, so they had a simple nose job. There's plenty of ways that modern medicine and modern surgical technology can enhance somebody's quality of life by enhancing their physical appearance and their beauty. And especially with women who are so critical of themselves, sometimes I've seen this as a wildly beneficial thing. I did video content for hair and makeup companies for years, and the stats are undeniable. Most women feel that they do not know how to make themselves look as beautiful as possible without the assistance of a professional. Okay, they feel like they don't know. I can't remember the exact stats, so I won't cite it. But I remember I was doing a commercial. I was working on a commercial for a beauty company. It was a makeup company. And they'd done this really interesting. They sanctioned a study and asked how many women actually felt that they knew how to do their makeup properly to make them look as beautiful as possible. And the vast, vast, vast majority of women felt insecure on the issue and wanted to learn more. Okay? And so professionals would come in, they'd do the before and the after, and these women would look stunning when hair and makeup was done with them. And they'd see themselves in the mirror for the first time. And just the breath of fresh air, the confidence that they got. It was a touching thing. It was a beautiful thing. It's kind of like a Dove commercial, And I would never want to rob that of a woman. I'd never want to rob of a man the chance to go and work out and actually see himself get a physique. I have a buddy that started doing weightlifting and then finally got into physique competitions. And he was always crippled by an insecurity from being small when he was younger and getting picked on. And when he got large and yoked, he didn't, end up getting small man syndrome, which all of us tall guys recognize from a mile away and hate. But he started really living super healthy lifestyle and saying, I want to compete. I actually have a physique that is good enough that I can compete. And I didn't make a lot of sports teams because I was shorter, but this is actually advantageous. My physique is advantageous in some of these weightlifting competitions. So this is the sport I'm going to commit to and I'm going to do. And he's committed for 2 or 3 years, and he just won his first competition after 3 years of sacrifice, and freaking good on that guy. I would never want to rob him of that by saying, oh, it's all about inner beauty. No, they're oftentimes intertwined. Inner and outer beauty are intertwined, just like yin and yang are intertwined. Okay? Spiritual health is physical health, is spiritual health, is physical health. If we're more healthy physically, our spirit has a chance to shine through naturally. And if our spirit is shining through naturally, then it's also going to improve our physical tabernacle of clay in our body. These are important principles that shouldn't be shouted down by raging woke squads, cry bullies, and feminists under noble sound bites of body positivity and representation and all this other crap that they claim when it's really just cruel hypocrisy. Anyway, a couple of other super chats, and we're going to continue with the article. Dan Sievert says, my husband hated, quote, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but she used the M word. Just kidding. He used to joke about this stuff. He's from Palmyra, New York, and I'm from AI. I think that's an A and a lowercase L, so that might be Alabama. After his baptism, we find out we're 10th cousins. Oh, that's hilarious. If you go back far enough, I think you only need to go back 12 to 15 generations in America, and most people share a common ancestor. Or is it after 8? I can't remember, but it's like generally, like I've seen that on the app. Like when you actually study genetics, it's actually quite interesting, the connections that can be made between people. So that's actually pretty interesting. Crypto CPA says, anytime you see a woke scold with a nose ring, you know something crazy, bigoted, and nonsensical is about to be spoken. Is that your internet crypto physiognomy, bro? Obviously you can have a nose ring and still be a rational person, but there's a reason why there's so many blue-haired and cat lady jokes out there. Theodos Ashadarawash. Ashadarawish. Sorry about that one, bro. It says, my great-grandma was winning beauty pageants in Utah after her 10th kid and continued to win more until just before her 16th. What? LDS women are 10 times the anti-girls? Oh my gosh. That is incredible. Hey, well, go look at Ballerina Farm. She's got like, what, 20 kids? Okay, I think it's like 7 or 8. But she still looks stunning. So yeah, the proof is in the pudding. Or in the beauty contest, whatever you want to call it. So let's go back to the WardRadio news article, finish the last paragraph. The New York Post article explained that Mormons do look alike, citing a 2010 research paper that found non-members can properly identify Mormons 60% of the time, a rate researchers said was statistically significant. However, the research did not attribute the ability of test subjects to identify Mormons to the small gene pool of members of the church or their plastic surgery rates. Rather, they said the skin texture of members of the church was the giveaway. Get out of town. The skin texture. Why might that be? Why might that be, guys? What are 2 very bad habits that most of the Western world engages in that immediately affect your skin tone? I don't know. Luke Hansen, I think he knows. He says, this difference in skin texture likely resulted from religious observances like not drinking and smoking. Apparently, it's that simple, guys. Don't drink, don't smoke, and 60% of the time, our society, I guess, likes drinking and smoking so much that all you got to do is just not drink and not smoking. There's a majority chance somebody will peg you as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This is crazy. So, anyway, here's the original article by our friend Alyssa, who then points out that Ryan Gosling, 43, was born Mormon, noting in her video that he has Mormon face. Which, thank you for telling me I look like Ryan Gosling. I think we have similar opinions on patriarchy and horses. Thanks for telling me how attractive I am, Alyssa. But also, let's think, what would happen if she said, oh yeah, take a look at X Jewish celebrity. He's got Jewish face. Do you not see New York Post? Do you not see the pitfalls of that? Now, if you're saying it as a compliment, that's different. But this was not a compliment. This was an absolute pejorative. Which, by the way, I'm kind of a free speech purist. I think you should be able to say whatever it is that you think without really fearing too much of a consequence. Because words are deeds, but they're only little mini deeds that provide a signaling function more than anything. So we either need to just like get rid of the guardrails and just allow ourselves to say whatever we want to about each other, where pejorative and cruel comments like this are just allowed, or we need to stick to our guns and the rubric that we put out. And if we're not going to allow people to say this about African Americans, about Muslims, about Jews, then why should we allow them to say it about members of the Church of Jesus Christ, Latter-day Saints, and Mormons? Why? So which do you want? Because you can't have both. Anyway, if you want to watch the video, here's the original. Link is actually in the WardRadio article that was originally written by Luke Hansen, but we're going to see what the Deseret News had to say about this. Our girl, Hannah Syriac, over there, wrote an article. It was pretty funny. I'm just going to highlight a couple of comments. She said that the New York Post gave a tutorial on how not to write about Latter-day Saints. That's funny. When held up to scrutiny, the article about Latter-day Saints looking alike starts to unravel. Do Latter-day Saints look alike? That's the subject of a recent article from the New York Post. The Post published the article Monday with the headline, I'm an ex-Mormon. Here's why members of my former church look alike. The piece cobbles together quotes from a 1-minute YouTube short video and a couple of research papers to advance the idea that Latter-day Saints look alike. And then she gives a bunch of embedded tweets and rebuttals here that you guys should all feel free to check out. Link will hopefully be in the description. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you all a bunch of inbreds? Do these accusations carry weight? You tell me. We're going to move on right now to talking about just a couple of other comments from some of the videos today. We've had a pretty great week. It's quite hilarious. We talked about the animals in the Book of Mormon, Rod Meldrum and Abril Hernandez, continuing the Mesoamerica versus Heartlander, not feud, but a spirited conversation that we're having on the channel. Okay. We also talked with Connor Boyack asking if the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is still under condemnation as dictated in Scripture if we don't live up to certain scriptural benchmarks, which he says we do the first one really well, but not the second one. We're going to go over some comments on that video. And we also explored the ruins of the sunken city of St. Thomas that keeps rising out of the dry lake bed of Lake Mead. If you guys haven't had a chance to check that out, you guys should check that one out, as well as the lost Book of Mormon of Atlantis, a sunken city that's still underwater, actually in Mesoamerica, for the people that think that the Book of Mormon came to pass in Mesoamerica, with all the interesting archaeological finds that we had there. And we'll go over some of those comments as well. Some of them are pretty hilarious. One of the first ones I noticed today was Matt. Thank you. He said, I've been working in landscaping and have been binge listening to WardRadio 8+ hours a day for the past 2 weeks. Amazing discussions, and I love the deep doctrinal dives. Well, thank you very much, Matt. We love you. And I said, dude, awesome. Send us a picture on the website and we will highlight you. I love it. When people binge watch our stuff, that helps us with the algorithm. And, we just appreciate the positive commentary. So thank you very much, Matt, for your comment. In the vein of AI, here's a little challenge. If any, you listening, Fidget? You want to do a cartoon? Any AI operators out there want to make an AI picture? This is funny. Picturing Jaredites riding around on mastodons is beyond epic, which is a really, really funny thing to think about. We're starting to discover how much further into the timeline in North America a lot of these what were considered prehistoric animals lasted, namely species of horse, species of elephant, species of mastodon. I mean, we're finding woolly mammoths that live 40,000 years longer than we thought they did. And in fact, we're finding horses that have been preserved in ice. These are ice age species of horses that went extinct due to the last ice age, but have been so well preserved in permafrost that they still have liquid blood. This is a Jurassic Park movie just waiting to happen. And all of these timelines are getting reconsidered left and right. And it's quite a fun time for those people that like trying to surmise here or there what different animals were in the Book of Mormon. Of course, all of this could be lone shifting. It could be translational errors for all we know. But nevertheless, it's a fun conversation topic. We're here for it. And when these guys want to show up and try and point out what they think different animals were, it's awesome. And we're all here for it. However, we reserve the right to make AI images of Jaredites running around on mastodons because, as Q-Bird says, that is beyond epic. So I want to see in the fan section, the fan art section on Discord, your best original painting, original cartoon, AI art accepted of a Jaredite riding around on a mastodon. And by Jaredite, I don't mean Cardin. Although, you know what? Actually, if you want to make it Cardin, Kwaku, or Brad running around on a giant mastodon, I would be all here for it. Oh, and speaking of Brad, we didn't get the one of Brad. The AI art of Brad was totally killer as well. It didn't download, and the poor guy has been... Poor Brad. He's always so slighted. I'm going to go out of my way here to make sure that we pull up the AI image of B.T. Whitbeck, Brad Taylor Whitbeck, who, here he is the high priest of, I don't know, what is this, the Saudi gold plates? Look at that. This one's not bad. Dude, Brad would be a killer warrior priest. Look at that. He's got the best beard for it, too. Yeah, I think somebody made AI art that included the Saudi gold plates. That is funny. That is some really, really good stuff. Please drop a like on the chat if you guys dig the picture of Brad. In fact, let us know which one you like the most. Do you like Moroni Cardin? Do you like Egyptian or Moroni Kwaku? Bearded Kwaku? Nephi armband Kwaku? Or do you end up liking Warrior Priest with the Saudi gold plates? BT Whitbeck Apostle 2028. Is that your favorite? Let us know in the chat below. So anyway, to round things out here, we finished all the different commentary. Where is this? We've addressed Alyssa Grenfeld's protest. We excused the absence of Brittany the Shadow, who is actually traveling with some family here. Shout out Brittany the Shadow. And we will now move on to just a couple of the last debunkings we're going to do here. This one's a little bit disappointing. But it does need to be addressed here. This was sent to me a couple of days ago. Mormon News Roundup is accusing us of some logical fallacies here with one anti-Mormon, Mackenzie Vance. We're going to let them hear what they got to say.
Here, Mackenzie, into WardRadio's response to the entire garment fiasco. And in fact, just yesterday, in anticipation of this, Mackenzie, someone gifted me, I don't know who it was, somebody out there, one of the listeners to the Mormon News Roundup, gifted me a premium membership to the WardRadio channel. Yeah. What do you think?
Lucky you.
Yeah, I would say you're lucky. And members of our channel are very generous. So how does one respond to said generosity?
Yeah, what do you think I should do with all my newfound perks and being a part of the WardRadio brotherhood over there?
Well, if they have a Discord, get into that immediately. I hear it's really God-honoring and just super kind. And
actually, yeah, I'd say it generally is. It's a fun place. You should try it out.
Just a really good discussion over there. So I would recommend doing that first.
I don't know if I can handle the WardRadio Discord. I'm not sure if I am a man enough to be able to handle that.
Hey, you said it, not me, bro. You said it, not me. But I think you give yourself not enough credit. You should try it out.
Did you hear that Nuance Ho snuck into it for a little bit and found...
Actually, she didn't sneak in very well. She came in as Nuance Ho and then Incognito Ho, and I was the one that booted her like within 20 minutes of her trying. I mean, sure. I guess so. That's right up there with, I don't know, trying to buy on eBay temple recommends so you can sneak porn stars into the Salt Lake City temple to film illicit scenes of an inappropriate nature in somebody else's religious building. What, like, we bragging about this now? Okay, let's keep going.
On some memes about her, Cara Burrell. Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't hear about that one.
Her
no,
username
memes.
was Incognito. Anyways,
Nice.
So she kind of snuck in, but also kind of wanted people to know she was there, and she found some.
We're gonna
really
1.5
stuff
times
about her,
this.
so.
I don't know if I can have the stomach or the fortitude to be able to check out the Discord, but I am a member for the next 28 days.
Cool.
So I use that, Mackenzie. I use that to go in there and check out some of their content here, including this episode here. It was called Real LDS Women Defending Garments. What do you think of this thumbnail?
Can we talk about real LDS women? It's like, what is that? The no true Scotsman fallacy. Like, you're not a real LDS woman if you criticize the church.
Okay. This has to be done. But I think it's rule number 8 of anti-Mormons is they always incorrectly cite logical fallacies. There's these words that get popular in the zeitgeist. A couple years ago was gaslighting. That's kind of fallen out of favor now. No true Scotsman. Dan McClellan just did a video on this, and Mackenzie Vance here is referencing it. But it's the idea that somebody can say, oh, well, you're not a real adherent because you don't think the way I do. In fact, again, because anti-Mormonism can never survive 30 seconds of Google research. We're going to look up what is the no true Scotsman logical fallacy. By the way, we're starting to learn how all of these logical fallacies aren't logical fallacies. For example, the slippery slope fallacy is not a fallacy because I live at the bottom of the slippery slope in Los Angeles. You know? So anyway, here's the no true Scotsman logical fallacy. And it is committed when the arguer satisfies the following conditions. Not publicly retreating from the initial falsified a posteriori assertion, offering a modified assertion that definitionally excludes a targeted unwanted counter-example, using rhetoric to signal the modification. That's the no true Scotsman logical fallacy. In layman's terms, it actually comes from a philosopher. I can't remember his name, but basically he said something along the lines of, no true Scotsman would take cream with his coffee. And then another Scotsman raised his hand and said, well, I am Scottish, and I love cream in my coffee. And then the first Scotsman turns around and said, well, no true Scotsman would take cream with their coffee. Now, chill out, historians. Might have been tea, might have been pancakes. I don't remember. But the nature of the history of the fallacy is as follows. Person makes a claim. Counterclaim shows up, and the person says, well, no true Scotsman would do X. Well, here's the reason why that doesn't fly and doesn't apply here. Just like your false misconception of ad hominem, okay? When you were a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and you go to quitmormon.com, post it all over your social media and say, I am no longer a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you don't get to just come back later and say, you criticizing my opinion as an ex-Mormon, anti-Mormon is a no true Scotsman's fallacy because you are not a Scotsman. I'm sorry, the membership in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is not an ethnicity. We are not an ethno-religion. We are a religion structured on belief in scriptures. And when you renounce that, when you renounce your citizenship in Scotland, you don't get to run to the embassy when all of a sudden civil war breaks out and say, oh, but I'm a Scottish person, I'm a Scottish person, I'm a Scottish person. Because they're going to pull out the list of Scottish citizens and be like, no, you renounced your citizenship. You're actually not a Scotsman anymore. You don't get to just rock off on ex-Mormon subreddit and brag about how un-Mormon you are and how we're racist and bigoted and inbred. And then when we want to give you a little bit of pushback because you've lived your entire life never getting any kind of pushback because you're so spoiled, and then all of a sudden say, oh, no true Scotsman fallacy, no true Scotsman fallacy. No, you're not. You're not Jewish. It's not an ethnicity while simultaneously a belief structure. Christianity is not an ethnicity. You're baptized into it, not born into it. So when you renounce your baptism and you renounce your membership and you renounce your citizenship and you renounce your participation and then you start criticizing and making cruel, hateful hit pieces against Kwaku L, mocking his mental health, or making a mockery of his mental health situation, or just plain old saying lies and things that aren't true about it, better said, you don't get to say no true Scotsman's fallacy.
And it's just such garbage. So I think the way that this is worded is to get a reaction. It's rage baiting. They want people to be upset when they read that. Be like, well,
it's actually not rage baiting. It's counter punching. And that's the problem with these people. I didn't know who Mackenzie Vance was until she was using clips of my show to attack one of my friends. I mean, he's the only African-American member of the top three of the cast, and she goes after him trying to cite very open and honest and vulnerable monologues he's done on the importance of mental health and the abuse of mental health facilities that he's participated in. This is something that should be lauded in society, not mocked, not debased. But this is the snarky cruelty that can be expected.
I'm a real LDS woman. So just that title alone is already very provocative, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, well, provocative, fine. So you're saying I'm a good job at being a motion media producer on YouTube and titling a thumbnail well? Thank you. Guilty as charged.
It's not like neutral, keeping the peace. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about these issues.
Do you ever notice that these people always call for neutrality and peacekeeping when somebody is counterpunching and challenging their ideas? Where was her neutrality in peacekeeping before she started mocking this show and to the other female members of the church that are trying to live up to their commitments made in the temple about temple garments?
It's like, nope, we're right, you're wrong, and here's why.
As far as clickbait is concerned, Cardin is the master of the clickbait. And you're right, this is an absolute no true Scotsman fallacy. It's the idea that if you don't like garments, or you think the garment should be improved, or you think the garment should be a private matter, then you're not a real LDS woman.
No, that's not. And all you're showing is your ignorance to having watched the episode. Because even my wife, Brittany the Shadow, said, hey, this is something I've always struggled with. Riley, Brad's wife, said, yeah, it's a sacrifice that we make. Tikla said, you know what? Sometimes we're asked to do hard things, and sometimes, especially on a hot day, that can be a hard thing, but it's a minimal sacrifice. And by the way, this isn't unique to members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Catholics carry the rosary. You think that's comfy on a hot day when you're sweating through 5 shirts, having to dig a termite trench in the middle of Alabama? You think all of those Catholics dig that? Do you think the priests that wear their high-necked suits and collars, you think they're all down with that outfit? When San Diego was running 101 degrees, you think they love that? Do you think the Buddhist monks like showing up at an airport when it's 30 degrees cooler than they thought it was going to be on a layover? And their orange outfits, do you think they dig that? Or maybe they understand there might be a higher purpose to some of this. Last 10 seconds.
Really questioning your integrity as a human being.
No, I'm not questioning your integrity. I'm questioning your ability to analyze what no true Scotsman actually means. If you have rage quit and posted it all over social media, your receipt for quitmormon.com, you've literally quit being Mormon. And in my opinion, you've kind of quit a lot of your credibility on the subject. We don't care if you're struggling with something. We don't care if you actually disagree with something and you want to analyze it. But you don't get a rage quit. Start an anti-Mormon podcast that has thousands of followers and millions of clicks. And then when somebody wants to push back on your idea, retreat into the corner and say, oh, no true Scotsman, no true Scotsman. That's literally just spiritual terrorism. It's no different than in the war of ideas, building your headquarters underneath the hospital. That's why these people do it. Okay? That's why Hamas has their headquarters underneath a hospital. Because they're not overt equal contenders on a battlefield of ideas. They're cheaters. It's asymmetric warfare. It's spiritual terrorism. So I'm sorry. D-Vase, you're welcome to come on the show. Tell me how I'm wrong and how these lovely LDS ladies abused the logical fallacy of no true Scotsman. Mackenzie Vance, you're welcome to come on and tell us how you're a true Scotsman and these women are mistaken. But I don't think you will. So anyway, last article before we go here. We got 2 more minutes left. We're just going to burn through something a lot of people are talking about today. Unfortunately, I don't have more time to dedicate to this, but it's something pretty funny that happened at BYU. I thought this was hilarious. The Mormon News Roundup says, don't appreciate being called a terrorist. I didn't call you a terrorist. Specifically used the word spiritual. And I said it is spiritual terrorism to use these logical fallacies and these noble terminologies and advancements in philosophy to hide behind noble sound bites while doing cruel things. Don't hide behind noble sound bites while doing cruel things. It is akin to, and I said akin to, and I made an analogy. Okay? So, and by the way, if I were just calling you a terrorist, I wouldn't have invited you on my show. So, sorry you don't like it. Sucks getting pushback, but yeah. I don't see how you can justifiably defend what you said about the no true Scotsman fallacy. And I don't see how you can defend, because it's your team that says we're all inbred. Will you denounce the accusation that Mormons are all just inbred, as stated by one of your champions, Alyssa Grenfell? She's not your champion. Fine. She's not your champion. Will you say that Mormons are not inbred? You can ask me what I'm talking about. But will you denounce what she said? Of course, ... very few are. Just couldn't do it, could you? Just couldn't do it. Imagine if the ADL were to ask somebody in a chat, will you denounce that, like, the world domination theory of Jews or whatever is not correct? And, like, a neo-Nazi literally just said, like, oh yeah, of course I'll denounce it. Well, most aren't part of the big banking conspiracy. D-Vase, man, it's a blind spot, bro. It's a blind spot. Anyway, this one's kind of funny. Chris Autry, a managing director of BYU Police and BYU Security, has been using BYU campus facilities to hold secret meetings with LGBTQ activist groups. The Cougar Chronicle confirmed this week the events were likely held in violation of BYU's own speaker and events policy. Basically, apparently, this guy was caught by a watchdog group. I'm going to have to truncate this because, unfortunately, we're already over on time here. We're going to have to truncate this. Some watchdogs were able to infiltrate a gay activists group on campus and find out they were holding secret meetings with this guy that weren't sanctioned officially by BYU, though he carries the uniform of being basically the equivalent of chief of police on BYU, where he said a lot of controversial things that are going to be addressed by the Cougar Chronicle. Looks like he got caught. To what extent he got caught, we're going to find out, and we'll see tomorrow. But apparently he praised the activism of the LGBTQ students on campus. And then specifically, this is the one I thought was funny that we'll have to address at a different time. He said he liked it. During his address to the attendees, he discussed his experience when activists lit the Y up with the rainbow, saying, I got called at home the first night it was lit. I'm laughing on the phone because I'll just say, because it's your community pulled one over on us. We weren't expecting that. That was brilliant. Okay, this is the one thing I can say I agree with the guy on. That was funny. That was funny. I will go down in history as saying when the LGBTQ activists lit up the Y with rainbow colors, that was hilarious. And people can get all uptight and their feathers ruffled, but that was objectively funny. And I know this is where the conservatives are going to get angry. I know they're all going to get angry about this because there's a culture war going on and so on and so forth. But to me, that's a humorous middle ground, and that's positive activism. I don't happen to agree with 99% of what these activists say. Now the LGBTQIA lobby has unfortunately become the bully that it fought at Stonewall, and I think it really, really needs some serious introspective self-reflection, okay? But the activists that decided to light up the Y the first time, the second, third, fourth, and fifth times, it was kind of like, whoa. Okay, now it's just getting old. Wasn't funny the 15th time, okay? But the first time, that was creative. That was funny, and I'm on the record as saying that was funny, so I actually agree with this chief of police. However, if he is abusing his position to do something kind of a little bit subversive, and I don't know if he's actually gotten to the point where he's doing something subversive, definitely got caught for doing something unsanctioned, and I'd seen people on the conservative side get lambasted if the BYU conservatives were to have met secretly with the chief of police in meetings that could mistakenly be called secret combinations. That, like, don't step on that landmine, all right? So I'm curious to see where this goes. I wish we could dive in a little bit more. But this guy either got caught, and he got caught for something small, or he got caught, and it ends up being something bigger. We're going to find out what the guys over at the Cougar Chronicle say. But before we go anywhere, we're going to finish up with these super chats. Kim Young. Thank you very much for the super chat, Kim. Kim says, it was announced in church on Sunday that Elder Renland is coming to my stake in April. My wife hit me when I let out a loud ugh. Oh no, when we found out Emily Bell Freeman would be joining him. She is worse than Gong. No, she's not. No, I'm just kidding. No, they're all blessed, loved, and supported leaders of the Church of Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints who are thanked for their service. Although with that said, I think Elder Gong does need to just get a couple of lessons from Holland when it comes to conference talks. That's all I'm saying, Gong. That's all I'm saying, bro. We love you, dog. We love you. Just maybe, listen to some of those old Hubie Brown tapes, okay? Anyway, again, every time we mention Gong and joke that his talks may not be as engaging as some other apostles, we always follow it up with an absolute demand that the chat say Elder Gong is my favorite apostle, just to put all that positivity in the air after we joked about his talks being boring. So here it is. Elder Gong is my favorite apostle. Clayton asks, what are your plans to expand journalism/news section of War Radio? More writers, man on the street interviews, reporters? Yes, all of the above. We are loud and proud and overt. We do not snipe from behind school buses. We do not build our headquarters underneath hospitals. We are out and about and calling it how we see it. And we call out both the left and the right. We call out the top and the bottom. Even in this podcast, we've shown, hey, I think this was funny. Lighten up the why. Hey, abusing no true Scotsman is a woke scold tactic that needs to stop. So we play both sides, and that's why I think people have a craving for independent news, at least an independent perspective. So we're going to town on that. Betsy Belmont says, my husband was the first generation, I think she meant to say generation LDS. I'm 6th generation LDS. According to genealogy, my husband is also my 11th cousin once removed. Oh, that's hilarious. Once you do go back far enough, pretty much in the North American continent, you're always going to end up being related to somebody, Speaking of calling out, here's E-Dog says, let me see here. I'm trying to catch up on some members' comments here. Let me see. Seems like a good reason to call one spot. I don't know what they're referring to. I'm sorry you're getting called names. No, nobody's just getting called names. Ideas are getting indicted here. Everyone we mediate to turn the other cheek as Christ suggests we do. Yeah, there's a difference between turning the other cheek, though, and just submitting to unnecessary abuse. And abusing logical fallacies is unnecessary abuse. And I'll call out an abuse. Doesn't mean you have to subject yourself to it. What, we're not allowed to flee from an attacker? We're not allowed to counterpunch somebody that's like punched us in our face? This is just niceness culture and suburbanism. And this also never happens. These people always reveal whose side of the argument they're on by who they indict as the one not being Christ-like. Is trying to call out a bunch of Mormons as inbred, E-Dog 88. Is that not... You don't want to challenge those people? Okay, so anyway, Jonah Barnes. Pepperidge Farms remembers when MNR, I don't know what that is, begged to work for War Radio and had no prob lying about his activity. He's desperate and sarcastic. Oh, I see what you're saying. Jonah. Now I get what the acronym is. And Darren Brower says, Cardin, I'm sorry, I am rushing through here. We are already 8 minutes over. I apologize. Darren Brower says, Cardin, when are you going to have Dave Boyce from 52 churches in 52 weeks on the program? Hey, from what I understand, that's coming up soon. And we like these kind of things to be a surprise. And so one of these days you're going to see that inside of your You're going to see that inside of your feed and know that, boom, that interview's happened. Glenn Hipkin says, grateful for the New York Times for bringing more attention to the church so that people will investigate the church more. We always get more baptisms from these things. We keep growing while everyone else is falling apart. There is some truth. Growth of the church in North America has slowed, unfortunately, with all other religious organizations as well. But ironically, the ones that are growing the most are the ones that have stuck to their religious guns, especially in terms of most social dynamics. And those sects have enjoyed an increase of membership, not a decrease. And I think a lot of the cautionary tales of the reorganized church, I think the cautionary tale of the Methodist church, I think the cautionary tale of much of Protestantism in North America should be looked at, because people need religion. We're built for it. The question is just which one. And right now there's two major competing faiths, the Judeo-Christian one that has pervaded our history for 300, 400 years in North America, and this new atheistic woke scold one that's frankly just cultural Marxism. And it's chaotic, and it's cruel, and it's hypocritical, and it's unsustainable. And we've gone down that path for a while, but hopefully, just like everybody veers off path sometimes, I think society is turning around and self-correcting. And Ben here says, I used to have a lot of jokes about cattle, but unfortunately they are all in bread now. But he spelled it bread. So I think he's joking that they're in hamburger buns now, and he's eating them. Ben, did I get that one right, bro? I see what you did there. And Elizabeth Baker says, many anti-Mormon platforms, such as, and I will do the favor of not calling out the individual name, have no foundation and will one day crumble like the great and spacious building. I think chaos is the foundation, but also, frankly, the purpose. If you study all tenets of Marxism, the very first thing you have to do is destabilize, and therefore most of the positions that are held, especially socially, are very destabilizing ones. And the power of the accuser is manifest when what they do is make you accusers for a word. And so anyway, if anybody feels they've been misrepresented, you're free to send us an email on the website, and we'll gladly invite you on the program. You can defend yourself, but I got to tell you, I think calling Mormons inbred and then citing the no true Scotsman fallacy. I'm sorry, I think calling members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints inbred and then quoting fictitious articles about Mormon face and plastic surgery and articles that actually talk about positive health benefits of religious adherence as evidence of a small gene pool. I think that's just cruel and obnoxious and shameful. And then I also think criticizing a religious minority for its adherence to some basic clothing practices, and then when ex-Mormon anti-Mormons go after that and then try and claim the no true Scotsman or the no true Mormon fallacy, I think that's just so blatantly, obviously not true that it can't just be an honest mistake. And I could be wrong on that. Maybe somebody was just so ignorant to what the no true Scotsman fallacy actually means, much like they're ignorant to what a straw man actually means, or what the slippery slope fallacy means, or what any of these logical fallacies are. Maybe they were just so ignorant to it that they misused it. And you know, maybe that's what happened. Okay. Thank you very much. David Mitchell says, I like how it just popped up. Man, the chat's going so fast. Where did you say? He said Cardin, or was it Ben Godley? What's up, Ben? Diamond Dave, what's up? Then, wow, you guys going so fast, I can't keep up, man. Crypto Surfer says, the slippery slope is not a fallacy, it's real. Yep, that's true. And Mormon News Roundup is back. He says, instead, I was viciously attacked by, it's still cruising fast again. Says, I was viciously attacked by Cardin as soon as I showed up. No, you weren't, my man. Your words were played on the show. I was name called and the chat was good with it. You are a victim. Or maybe a bunch of people took issue with what you said. And they proved how your claim that no true Scotsman was not an actual defense of your claims. You insinuated the Discord was cruel and unchristlike. Your chat with Mackenzie Vance was completely unregulated about her claims against a religious minority. And you can always tell who the anti-Mormons are, because the second they receive a little bit of pushback, they just can't handle it, because they haven't gotten pushback for 50 years. This is where previous generations of members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have failed us. And this is where the conservative members get pissed at me. Past generations have failed us at challenging cruel anti-Mormon, culturally Marxist attacks. And in their wealth and their comfort, they chose to ignore the problem, thinking it would go away, but it didn't. And the anti-Mormons grew in how brazen and cruel they felt they could be, until now we have arson in chapels up 14%. You literally have the New York Times, without thinking twice, publishing articles claiming that members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are inbred based upon 1-minute YouTube videos that sites like Mormon News Roundup would not condemn summarily and simply. Like I couldn't get a just uniform calling Mormons inbred as just a blanket statement is wrong. Only some of them are. Like when RFM gets asked by Kwaku L, hey, can we at least agree that sneaking porn stars into temples in order to commit illicit videotaped acts on screen in a religiously sacred space, that, we shouldn't do that? Well, you talk as though there's something wrong with it. That's the cruel hypocrisy of what we're dealing with here, folks. That's the cruel hypocrisy. We don't share a social fabric with these people if they cannot denounce doing that. They can't denounce it, because in the woke scold mindset, in the culturally Marxist mindset, in the postmodern mindset that Jordan Peterson so eloquently talks about, power wins, and power is garnered by weak people in tribalism. So they will not denounce somebody who does something wrong in their tribe, because power is the metric over there. In our flawed way, trying to at least live up to the basic standards of the gospel is our metric. And we all fail at it, but at least we recognize it and it's codified in Scripture that we're all sinners, and we have to mourn with those that mourn, struggle with those that are struggling, comfort those that stand in need of comfort, and so on and so forth. So there's at least an attempt that you got to try to be a true Scotsman. So anyway, enough of this. Enough of this. It's called cry-bullyism, guys. And you need to call it out when you see it. Because cry-bullying is still bullying even when they're crying. And nobody has the right to bully you for your religious beliefs. Sincerely held ones, at least. You don't get to say in jail that you believe in the flying spaghetti monster and you want a 3-week vacation in the Bahamas. Which actually somebody tried to do, and I give them credit. That's pretty kind of funny. So anyway, Ryan Penn, last super chat here, says, go grab some Tito's tacos on me. Oh, Brittany's calling me. Gonna have to go. So thank you very much, Ryan Penn, for your super chat. Thank you very much for everybody that participated today. It's been real, and it's been fun, and it's been real fun. For this and more, please make sure you guys check us out at WardRadio.com.
I built a rocket in my basement. I'm gonna fly it to the moon. This supersonic is amazing. You're gonna feel my sonic boom. I'm flying higher and I'm never coming down. Look at me now.